I want you to think about a time where you felt lucky. You felt that things were going your way. Everything was great, no problems at all. I want you to now stop, and I want you to think about something or a time where you were not lucky. You were unlucky, things were not going your way, it was all bad. Right? So, everybody should have had a certain scenario in their mind where they felt like they were lucky or unlucky. It's that roller coaster where things are going your way and nothing's working. So, for me, I'm a high school senior here, and I've learned that life is just not fair. Some people learn that lesson before others. Some people never learn that lesson at all. And, big futures, a lot going on. University of Pittsburgh, going far away, colleges, and then everybody has things that stress them out. Maybe it's work, maybe it's kids, maybe it's how are you going to pay for college? What if it's studying? What if your roommate smells like feet? Bunch of bad things. But for a second, I just want everyone to just pause and relax. I know that's easier said than done, but I want you to think about it. There are 8 billion people in this world, and for some reason, somehow, you are all here listening to TED Talks. What are the chances of that happening? Right? And that's the thing about opportunity. It's not always there. There's not always a giant sign that says, this is it, this is the opportunity, you have to take it here. Sometimes it's subtle. Most of the time, you don't even realize that it's even there for you. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to join a TED Talk club and talk about opportunity. I want to talk about this book. In this book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, there are people in this book that were considered outliers. And in the book, Malcolm Gladwell explains, what made them outliers? What made these people successful? What did these people have that others didn't? Why did some people live longer than others? Why do some people have more money than others? What made that happen? Was it all by chance? Or do they have something? So, there's a chapter in the book, the 10,000 hour rule. And this is basically a guideline that states if you spend 10,000 hours on any subject or any craft, you're considered, or you would be considered, world-class at it. That could be anything. If you spend 10,000 hours practicing the guitar, you could be the next Van Halen at the guitar. Or if you spend 10,000 hours riding a unicycle, you could be the Michael Jordan of just riding unicycles, if that's what you really want. But in this book, there was 3 groups of violin players. One group practiced for 4,000 hours, one group practiced for 6,000, and the other group practiced for about 10,000 hours. The group that spent 4,000 hours practicing the violin, most of them became music teachers and educators. Now for the 6,000 hour group, they were semi-professional violinists. But the group that practiced about 10,000 hours, almost all of them were world-class violin players. And 10,000 hours, that's just a guideline, but that was a rule, and that's just what it stated in the book. And to give you an idea of what that looks like 3 hours every single day for the next 10 years. That would be 10,000 hours. And that's just if you had the access to that time. A lot of people don't. But one man did. Bill Gates. He had the access to 10,000 hours. How did he have that? Well, there were a lot of things that Bill Gates had that not a lot of people had at the time. It's hard to imagine right like now, because everyone has technology in their pockets right now. respond to emails, scroll on social media for 5 hours a day. It's basically everywhere. Everybody has technology. But in the 1960s and 70s, you had to go to a computer lab and spend money in order to access this technology. We just take it for granted. But Bill Gates had a rare opportunity to use this technology. Because money, or using technology, costs a lot of money, but he had that money. And he was born in 1955, which is the sweet spot too. So he was born at the right time, he had everything he needed, and he just used that to become successful. So you need to have a lot of time, you need to have access to that time. Now what if I told you that you needed, or that when you were born mattered as well? That's the case for professional hockey players. Because did you know that most of the professional hockey players from Canada were born from January to February and March? What are the chances of the first 3 years, or the first 3 months of the year, most professional hockey players were born? Well, why is that? Well, in youth leagues, in hockey, in Canada, they had the cutoff season as January 1st. So if you had a hockey player, like 2 5-year-olds, one that was born in June and the other one was born on January 2nd, well, it might not seem like a big deal, but the one that has a couple more months on the other one, they're a little bit stronger, they're a little bit bigger, they are more coordinated, and they received more training. Extra training, right? So you need a lot of time, and you need access to that time, and you also need to just somehow be born in the right spot. But that's all kind of crazy. But that's the thing about opportunity. It's like you don't really realize what it really is, right? So what if I told you that there was a marching band that wasn't even close to first place, nowhere close to being at the top? The competition, it was not even there. But 4 years later, that same marching band was undefeated in every single competition that they were in. Pretty remarkable, I would say. Almost like something from a Disney movie or a feel-good movie, happy ending. But that is based on a true story. That is the marching band here at Plymouth Whitemarsh. Because this year, we were undefeated and we won. I was a marching band, by the way. And it's just remarkable to think about that. And with the unlucky and lucky, when the band started for me, it was right after a pandemic. So I would consider that unlucky. These are the only pictures I could find about band that time. So not the best, right? But 4 years later, undefeated, trophies, amazing. Now, how did that become a thing? Well, I was talking to someone and I honestly didn't know why I kept with it. And I was like, what should I say for the TED Talk? And they said, it was your passion in music. And I'm like, that's what it was. It was passion. Passion kept me going. Now, your thing might not be marching band. Maybe your thing isn't professional hockey, right? But in the beginning, about asking about being lucky or unlucky, it's like, I could have asked if you ever felt like you had the opportunity to do something. That's a little bit harder to answer, but with lucky and unlucky, or winning and losing isn't always a bad thing. It just isn't. When you win, that opens doors for you, but if you lose, doors might not be open for you, but you learn something from it. You learn. And learning is a good thing, right? So you may not be a professional violin player. You might not have to spend 10,000 hours doing something, but you can learn. And that's the thing about opportunity. And if you had, you know, the opportunity to do something, you can do it. And that's all. Thank you.